Foreign-owned companies have until March 31, 2016 to submit their compliance plans, and they have, depending on sector, between 1 and 4 years in which to fulfill them. The new framework allows them to adhere to the law without necessarily letting go of their majority stakes.
The legislation on indigenization and economic empowerment is robust and comprehensive enough to provide several possible pathways that businesses may adopt to achieve compliance and thereby enhancing investments and production across all sectors of our economy.
One of those pathways is by implementing social programs such as women and youth empowerment programs, entrepreneurship development schemes, and other community projects. These earn empowerment credits which add up towards the required 51%. During the Christmas holiday, there was confusion over the implementation of the law after the two ministers publicly clashed on the way forward, but they seem to have buried the hatchet in the new year.
There's been a robust debate, and following this robust debate, we have now come up with a much improved product, which is very conducive for investment. As we go forward, we have now closed ranks to emphasize implementation.
While there is now consensus in government, what remains unclear is how the target audience will respond.
The government has agreed, but we don't know as yet how the foreign investors are going to react, because the way the foreign investors will react will depend on how they are being treated elsewhere in other jurisdictions, even within the region. If they are being treated better in Malawi or Zambia or Mozambique, they'll then feel that they're being shortchanged in Zimbabwe.
Late last year, Zimbabwe started undertaking a number of reforms to attract foreign investment, which the indigenization law is blamed for keeping at bay. The flexibility now allowed in its implementation is seen as a serious statement of intent by government. However, as some point out, it needs to be backed up by improvements in other areas.
A foreign investor may have complied with the 51%, but you are coming here in an environment where you don't have guaranteed electricity. So in essence, you can't attract foreign investors to run generators. You can't bring in foreign investors in the mineral sector. After they have mined, they need to transport to house that mineral, high these volumes to the ports so that they can be exported. And that's where National Railways comes in. So we need a functioning National Railways of Zimbabwe. It will take quite some time also to rehabilitate the infrastructure.
Zimbabwe has, however, signed a number of agreements with China that are meant to increase energy generation capacity and refurbish its transport networks. Farai Mwakutuya, CCTV, Harare, Zimbabwe.
Right, then let's see exactly how some potential investors might respond to those changes. Chitra Nobat is live in New York right now with some more data on the story. Chitra, do these changes go far enough for investors in the United States to be confident enough to invest in Zimbabwe at this stage?
Rama, it's too early to say. American companies and investors put their money in countries where there's transparency, sound business infrastructure and practices, and solid financial regulations. And ultimately, there must be some economic advantage that makes it worthwhile to invest in Zimbabwe, whether it's a market or resource play or even cost advantage. While these changes are a positive, it will take time for implementation and market normalization around it. And so U.S. investors will be monitoring how this unfolds and if the business environment provides more normalization and certainty as a result.
Indeed. Let's talk about those nitty-gritty details as well. Zimbabwe is not eligible for AGOA. It's got some targeted sanctions placed against it or members of its government. So what sectors of Zimbabwe's economy would be attractive to investors given those factors right now?
Energy, infrastructure, and mining are sectors that are attractive to investors. In the past year, foreign companies, for example, such as JA Solar, won close to a $200 million contract to supply solar power facilities in Zimbabwe. Developing transportation and the overall infrastructure in the country are areas where foreign companies have been able to participate in mutual value creation. Beverage companies such as Coke are trying to increase their market share. So consumer discretionary and staples are sectors where companies also want to increase their penetration.
Indeed. We'll leave it there for the time being. Chitra Nobat live in New York. Thank you.